Not trying to think over the mistakes again and again.
And I think he can cheat it a little bit here. I think he has a little angle going. If he was straight, he might play draw back for short side on the 6.
Well, does he even need it?
Yeah, I think he's going to try and shove this outward a little bit, cheat the pocket just a touch. Nothing wrong with drawing back towards the 6, though, because when you get closer to it, you become more accurate. So even if you have more angle, it's okay.
Yeah, that's just maybe like a 2 or 3 ball diameters draw shot.
That was a nice touch there. Well, he got elevated here, and that's a concern. We are playing all ball fouls.
Careless, yeah.
I think he thought he was going to bump it a little more. But I'll tell you, Skyler is one of the straightest shooters in the building. I promise you that.
Yeah, good recovery though. I was surprised to see once how Shane Van Boning was having problems with shooting over the ball.
Oh.
Ooh. It's just the same as the 5 ball.
Yeah,
from Siekkinen. And just like the pocket refuses to accept the ball.
Oh, he's may have to shoot this with the crutch, or the bridge rather, or left-handed. Just depends. If he was a good left-handed player, he would certainly shoot left-handed, I believe.
Well, that's one of the skills to develop for the youngsters.
Oh, absolutely.
Nowadays, yeah, just trying to be versatile.
Well, he wasn't very aggressive with that. I thought he would be a little more aggressive coming back towards the 10. Still one he's supposed to make, but I think he put it in a position where it's a hair more missable.
Well, sometimes, once again, striving for the best of the positions, you can just make a mistake, pocketing the ball, which is even worse. All right, guys, Jeremy has to go for a while. He'll be back. Now it is Jani Siekkinen racking the balls for the next break of this match, which is tied. Oh, sorry. It was tied 1 apiece, but now Jani Siekkinen is leading 2-1. It's a race to 8. I'm not sure every one of you can see this tiny digit in the very middle of our scoreboard. That's an 8 figure. And this is a race to 8 throughout the whole event. That's a good solid break. So much pace on the cue ball. Well, now I guess the 3 ball passes the 8. Right now Siekkinen is starting this position for this very matter. Whether the red ball passes. Let's take a look from the overhead. Yes, it does pass. Well, not sure he's on the right side of the ball. Yeah, he looked okay to escape the side pocket scratch. Well, now slightly roll the cue ball forward, maybe for the side pocket, if the 10 ball doesn't block it for a natural path towards the 7. Has to pay attention to the 9 though, bridging over this ball. Well, apparently the 6 doesn't go, or he just didn't like. Yes, we can see that part of the side pocket was blocked by the 10 ball, so that was definitely not an option. But he left a very nice angle for once again to make the cue ball drift naturally, just using a stand shot. Like we can see, Jani plays at his own pace. Doesn't like to rush anything. Oh, he is far from being too methodical. Well, that's a good question about pocket dimension this year. I'm not sure. I think when the day ends, I could approach the table and just try to measure it with 2 balls. Well, but when it comes to balls rattling in the corners, it doesn't depend on the pocket size only, but also like on the playing conditions and the humidity at the venue. So like I said, Jeremy is back with us.
Yeah, and he's in a good position here, Michael. I think he should feel okay, just kind of center ball coming across the table
just
for the 10 in the corner.
Towards the middle of the table, yeah, just like that, yeah.
The ball moves pretty easily on these tables, so you don't have to, even with little angle, you don't have to really pound the ball much.
Actually, I think we have a proper person here in the booth talking about the equipment at this very event, like about the pockets being slightly tighter than usual diamonds, or?
Well, yeah, they make a couple different sizes.
Are they 4.5 here, or?
I thought they were 4 1/4. They definitely seem a little more snug than the pool center, the Baza we've been playing at. And I checked them again today with just with the pool balls, and they definitely seem smaller. And if the outer tables, if the pool balls continued, I think we talked about that they're gonna clean them. But if they didn't, you would be amazed how tight they can get quickly. Because the diamond table has a deep shelf.
Yes, and actually the weather these days in Moscow turned from sunny to rainy.
Oh,
so just it is like I said already, humidity also might be a factor.
Yeah, today after I lost my early match, it was 44, low 40s this morning, and then it was beautiful sunshine, and then it was raining the next time I went out. The only thing we missed, I think, was snow today. Okay, a nice break off there, and a nice little shot on the 1 with the 2 near.
Well, Skyler is trailing 2x, so he's got to do something here.
Yeah, big miscue there. And what was it? Game 3, I believe, on the 9. Again, he'll need to draw the ball here for the 3 in the side. May come all the way back to the rail, just depends. Sometimes you get a little more security letting the stroke out a little more if you want to get past the 3 and letting it come. That's what I was looking at there, come back all the way to the rail.
Well, just maybe leaving a slight angle in order not to make the cue ball travel too long in position for the 6.
Yeah, and he would have liked to have played the 6 by the 9, but it does go to the other pocket as well. But he may have to move the cue ball a little bit to get on the 7, whether it be drawn to the backside of the 7. Still not too difficult. Can he just stop there, or does he have to come across? Oh, okay.
Oh, it looks as if he doesn't like the position as much. Like shaking his head a little bit.
Well, that one didn't go near as far as he wanted. Now I have to draw the cue ball to the side rail and out. I don't think he'll follow in this position. Normally, Skyler would hit the low English.
Yeah, that's a good recovery shot.
So a break and run in what you
Yeah,
might
we've got
call a very
some
needed
of Sky's
position.
relatives online.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's his mother, Deborah Jackson Woodward. Always him and Skyler's fiance Ashley, his two biggest fans for sure, and he's got a lot of them, and deservedly so. A good kid.
I wonder if there is a certain pattern Siekkinen is sticking when wrecking the 3 and the 2 in the corners.
Well, actually, that's a normal rule in 10-ball. We play a lot of tournaments. It used to be 2 and 3 in the corners. This tournament it's not like that. Actually, you're supposed to.
The WPA rules are not like that.
Right. That's
like
random.
Yeah.
So if he continued to rack the 2 and 3 in the corners, Skyler could say something about that if wanted.
Yeah, lost the cue ball on this break shot.
Yeah. That's the threat of the really much more firm break. I think you take much more chance with the cue ball. And the thing about it is it's really not necessary to pocket balls with the 10-ball break. That's kind of what Billy and Skyler have tried to tone down, actually. I think the 4 passes the 6. Yeah, no problem. It does, so. Is he looking at the 4 on the side? I thought he would just kind of stop there and come one row across.
A bit too close to the cushion.
Yeah.
Well, it passes, yeah, but
yeah, it passes.
Like you never know on the diamond table.
Yeah. So now he'll come across for the 4 and to shoot by the 6, I believe. The 5's very available.
Yeah, same goes to the 6.
Oh, he's putting high inside, so he's going to play the 4 in the side pocket. Okay. Nothing wrong with that. Thing is, sometimes you fall straight on these and you can't move the cue ball much at all. So, but Skyler was very aware of that, meaning he knew the 6 was in position to where if he had to stop on the 5, he could still stop on the 4. He could still shoot the 5 and get to the 6. You know, if the 6, say, was on the back rail a little bit or something, he may have played position much differently.
Yeah, even got some angle to be closer to the 5 a little bit with a follow shot.
So most likely after these last 4 balls, we'll be back on serve here at 3 apiece. And Skyler Woodward breaking.
Yeah, once again you see how things they could change so rapidly, even with the alternate break. Like,
oh yeah. And I think it was more the mentality of years ago when the alternate break first came around. I think the guys thought when they got down 4-1 they couldn't win. But they start to realize that, you know, that's just how sports is. I mean, you know, when you play, you know, Aaron Rodgers and you're down 2 or 3 touchdowns, how do you expect to win? If you score a touchdown, you have to kick off to him, or Tom Brady or somebody. It's just how sports is. You fall behind a few games, even though it's alternate break, you have to just hang in there. Crazy stuff happens.
so how does the Team USA feel this year here in Moscow, like going into the Dream Challenge right after this event?
Well, I think they feel pretty well. I mean, they feel good. A lot of confidence with these guys. They've had a lot of great finishes and a lot of singles events. You know, winning the Moscone last year did a lot for these guys, and it's not going to be easy. I mean, obviously Ruslan's in great form. Stepanov's playing more pool than he has been in the last few years and had some results as well. Federer always getting better and a great player already. So that's the speed I was talking about. It's more of just the arm break. That's about all you need is the arm break.
That's almost a perfect break.
Yeah.
The cue ball got kicked a little bit off his position, but the control was perfect.
Now, does he have a thin cut on the 1 on the side? Because I think the 6 is blocking the corner. But yeah, they fancy their chances at the Dream Challenge.
Yeah, that's great to hear.
But I wouldn't be surprised if it goes hill again.
It would be amazing. Looking forward to it.
If we happen to win at hill, I'd prefer not have to come back from 3 or 4 points again, though.
I'll tell you what, I don't like to see Shaman Boning versus Federer Gorst at hill once again.
Well, I'll tell you, there was, I think, a 2-ball that Federer missed that opened the door in that match. But if you remember the runouts that Shane made, they were incredible. Yeah. I mean, it wasn't, there was never a cupcake shot at all. It was kind of like what he did that entire trip.
That's a guy to rely on.
Yeah. I'm not sure if you got to watch what he did in Holland after that. We left here and went to Holland for the Euro Tour and down 5 or 6 nothing to Kachi in the final and came back to win that as well. So I think he's got a thin cut on the 1 on the side, but
yeah, because it doesn't pass the 6.
Yeah, and he, again, like most great players, is offensive. So maybe he just cuts this in and draws and goes right into the 8. Don't worry about it. Just go into the 8. Take your chances. Like that. Oh, he overcut it.
Oh, gets a roll, I think.
Yeah, I think he did. Okay, maybe he has a piece of this. Maybe this he has the bank. Yeah, he's got the bank. I'm pretty sure Jani should ignore the 2-way shot here, though. You just got to give your best effort at making this. That's what he did. He went for it, and I think that's correct. I think a lot of times if you try to play a 2-way, you really take away much accuracy on making the ball.
Well, at first sight it looked like there was not enough angle for the proper bank and just the ball would go wide, but even he managed to narrow it too much.
Mm-hmm. And a diamond table with speed, especially with top English, will narrow the ball. So at 3-1, I believe it was 3-1, the scratch on the break.
Well, there's a question about Billy. Yes, Billy Thorpe won. He won the previous TV match, so he's through, unscathed so far.
Okay, from this position here, the 8's laying over the pocket, so sometimes when the ball's in the pocket, can be a funny escape with the cue ball, meaning being accurate with it.
Oh, it's a black ball in front of the black pocket, like I almost missed this one.
Right. It's easy.
The 8 ball is still at the table.
This was what I was talking about. He may play short side on the 9 here just because it can be funny coming out of the pocket, especially when it's so deep. And this is a lot of his bread and butter, is making what you might call the medium tough shots under pressure.
So like a slightly rolling the cue ball forward past the side pocket.
Yeah, it'll go naturally there if hit well. Oh my.
Just forgot the pocket to bucket the ball, like we say here.
Yeah. Be surprised if Jani passes on this bank also.
Well, that's a natural one, bank to the side pocket and go in 3 rails around for the 10.
Yeah, but anytime you're cutting the bank on a slick table, you can hit it pretty well and still not be totally accurate with it.
Do you prefer altering the cut or using some English?
Probably minimizing the English, using more of the cut. Because again, you're going to have to cut it either way. So if you cut it and add English, I think you're making it a bit more of guesswork on the slick table.
Yeah, and of course, when it comes to the cut, like once again, the throw comes into effect.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And with the clean pull balls, it's just not something. Even when you practice with them, it's still a little bit unpredictable.
Well, that was a chance wasted for Skyler. The scoreline could have been just the opposite, 3-4. So right now, instead of leading, he is trailing.
Yeah, so it's been a tell of 9 balls for Skyler. A miscue on the 9 earlier, which cost him a game, and then a miss on the 9 there in our last rack. Really, Jani had an early miss in the first game. I think it was on the 2 ball.
Yeah, and since then
he just a scratch on the break is all.
Yeah.
I mean, he did miss the bank on the ball there, but it wasn't easy. I believe it was the 1 ball when Skyler overcut the 1 to open the rack. And again, well, he hit him nice and square, but I still think you're taking a little bit of a chance with the full, like 100% break.
Well, maybe he is just doing what he is used to be doing and doesn't make any adjustments to this one.
Well, and hey, I'm not faulting it. I just is saying, like Niels Van.
Niels
Van won the tournament last year, and he never backs off the break, ever. I mean, my whole life I've never seen him, I don't think, back off the break. I just, and it's not like I'm worried about these guys mishitting him so much. It's just a matter of you get a little more kisses on the cue ball sometimes. And
yeah, sure, more ball movement.
Right. Okay, so pretty easy rack, we might say. You hate to say it's a throw-in. You always got to work, but you can see they kind of connect to each other. A little bit of work from the 9 to the 10, but 3's in the side.
The 2 ball must be right now, the position from the 2 to the 3 must be the hardest part of this rack.
Yeah.
Because like from 9 to the 10, it's probably 2 rails across.
That's why you stay away from inside English on this table, especially from distance. That was pure deflection that he wasn't aware that was going to happen.
That's weird because like I don't think he was using the extreme portion of English.
Yeah, but the thing is, if you just get a little quick with the stroke, that's all it takes, just a little bit. That's why that's why when you watch like the Mosconi Cup with the real slick conditions, even more slick than this because there's so much heat.
The lighting,
yeah. And when you see the guys really play exceptional, you can really appreciate it, meaning when they're putting the side spin and still getting it down, that means the swing speed is just dialed in perfectly. Now he's got to pay attention to this. I mean, again, he doesn't want to fall in that little bit of a funny angle to where he's shooting the 8 and falling towards the rail, but not so easy to get back over. Is he drawing this?
Maybe 3 rails around.
Yeah. If the 8 doesn't go by the 10, okay, he's all right.
So just a little bit more attention to the 9 ball.
Yeah, it's been the 9 ball that's only been the problems, really.
Yeah.
And you'll notice he didn't really draw that one as much after that miscue earlier. Some players would have tried to screw that cue ball back a little bit more.
So back to all square. Once again, on his own break, it's a good chance for Skyler to take the lead. Medium speed.
Yeah, and watch, they're just not as. The main thing is a real quiet body, and then that'll keep it around that medium. He's not using near as much body as they normally do. Just more of an arm break. See that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No body movement at all.
Yeah, and that's kind of like that's just a good policy to keep that speed down a little bit, and obviously you're going to hit the cue ball a little better doing that as well.
Yeah, sure.
So he'll stop here on the 2 and got the 5 and then the 6 on the side. Really an easy out here. As long as I think it's pretty much a stop shot here on the 2. Just roll forward on the 5 for the 6. I don't think many problems. Only thing he could really have a problem is if he went extremely long on the 6 or short on the 6.
Got to take extra care to keep the proper angle on the 6.
Mm-hmm. Well, nice and straight is fine. Then you roll forward, right? Just as long as you're not extreme either way. You don't want to be too thin on the 6, and you don't want to be behind it a little bit where you run into the 8. So. Yeah, real nice and straight. Very, very ideal. And if he fell a little bit short of straight, he could still shoot the 6 and rub off the 8 and go forward probably.
Well, that's a little of a gamble.
Little bit, but a controlled gamble.
Yeah. Oh, he is perfect here.
Mm-hmm. So I'll have to kill the ball a little bit here, but he's close to it, so he could go back and forth if he wanted. But the 9's so easy, the 10's so easy, it's kind of up to him.
Well, I think on a new cloth, once again, it's always better to go back and forth. Just
It's kind of preference.
using the normal or slightly like more than normal pace on the cue ball.
Yeah, I always tell people when you're close to it, though, it becomes a little more preference, right? When you're close to your work. When you get further away, there's more of a standard way to shoot it. Like if he was further away, of course you go back and forth always, but it's almost like punching the ball or drawing the ball in certain shots. When you're close to it, it's kind of what you like to do a little bit more because you're going to be so accurate, you know. And his first lead in the match, correct? Is that right, Michael?
I'm trying to guess that.
I think so.
Yeah, maybe. Well, the table looks dark, but believe me, it only looks dark. We have a very nice lighting here, and I think it is better than at the older venue.
Yeah, the lighting's nice. They don't have drop lights, but they don't need them.
Well, SVB is losing. I've got some posts. Let me check the bracket.
He just started a little bit ago, right? I'll try and find where he's at.
Oh, it's 1-6 to David Alcade.
Oh, wow. Okay, he's playing Alcade.
Well, David Alcade is a former winner of the Kremlin Cup.
Trying to find what table he's on. Don't see him at all. Are they on a break somewhere?
Oh, he's over here. You see Shane, table 11.
Oh, I see him now. Yeah.
And his posture doesn't tell anything good.
Well,
I think so.
And David's at the table shooting the 9 and 10 to go up 7-1.
Looks like totally uninterested in the action. Well, we've got a nice spread of balls here. What about one ball going to the corner?
Yeah, I think it goes. Well, Shane coming off a nice tournament in China, finishing third, losing a hill match to get to the final.
Yeah, and that was a pretty nasty way to lose. Because he was breaking on the hill, I think. He just didn't get a roll.
Right.
Didn't get an opening shot.
Right. Well, he went hill in his opening match here and had to make one heck of a jump shot this morning to escape that one against a Filipino player, Robbie
Capito.
Yeah.
He's from Hong Kong.
Right.
Yeah.
But he's Filipino, though, correct?
Oh, yeah, correct.
I saw him in Las Vegas this past summer a couple times.
Yeah, he was playing here in Moscow for 2 years straight, like the World Junior Worlds.
I'm really surprised he went into the 6 there, because he could have drew the cue ball above the 6 and not touched anything. And now if the 6-8 didn't line up, he's got a little bit of work.
Well, now he looks surprised himself. Oh, you see the badge, Texas Pete, it reads on his elbow. Do you know the brand? Like now, you see, I'm trying to spot anything related to Texas.
Does it say Texas Pete? What is it? Yeah, I do see it now.
Yeah.
Uh-oh. Well, he caught the 9, so a lot of bumping the balls here. So the 6-8, he hasn't really looked at it much, so that tells me that the 6-8 is very playable.
So now I think we've got to make some commentary on how Shane's match evolves also.
Yeah,
right now
Shane,
he's trailing 2-7, so Alcade is on the hill.
Yeah, he broke and ran out. Shane did there. Didn't take much time doing it, in I think it was about 30 seconds.
Well, there is no way he could play the combo. 6-8, the 8 doesn't go.
No? Well, I mean, he didn't really ever think about breaking it out. He didn't really think much about how to deal with it, so it makes me think it is playable of some sort. Maybe he's got to cut the 6 back a little bit, but the big concern now, though, is the 5. He's elevated over the 6.
Yeah, sure, the pocketing is in question.
That was a nice stroke there, a nice clean stroke too.
It
Didn't
was the
overdo
5
it.
to this very corner, and he missed like a couple of racks back, and now he manages to do very good.
Now this is another one of those combos. If you apply outside spin on this, like throw the 6 back to the 8, you could easily hit this thick and the 8 go thick into the rail. When they're close together, you really want to stay off of using side spin on the first ball. And if you do use side spin, you actually want opposite. You want inside English, and because it doesn't create quite as much friction.
That's too much knowledge to digest.
Well, it's important though.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, like that. See,
Yeah.
you just barely put a little. I was going to say high
The-
ball
the
creates
thicker-
that friction
thicker
too.
hit, yeah.
Yeah.
So the call is the 8.
Josh Fielder did the same thing in the World 10 Ball Championships in the final, actually. Maybe it was the semifinal. Oh, okay, nice cue ball speed. Should just float this in with a little bit of check, a little bit of left.
Well, obviously there are still some parts of the game even the world champions are not aware of.
Yeah, and yeah, exactly. Well, the thing is, a gap like this, like half inch to an inch, that's where that comes about. But you say 2 inches.
You can hardly do anything with this one.
Yeah, well, you can create a lot of friction and things will happen that you don't think are going to happen. So, and side spin, any type of spin at times.
Well, I know at the same time, like when the balls are not frozen but very close, you can play them as if they are frozen.
Yeah,
actually, because
yeah,
of
they
like,
still throw.
the friction effect.
Right.
I mean, just if you need to manufacture like some ball to alter the path to the
Right,
pocket, like
absolutely.
to throw it to the pocket, like you can just go ahead and shoot these balls as if they are frozen.
Yeah,
That's
and,
amazing. Actually,
And some people think it's just a little bitty space, but you can actually have probably almost an inch between them and still get the throw, as we just saw with the 6-8 combination by Jani. So it looked like he was in a prime position, but now at 6-4 down, he's got
and Skyler breaking.
Yeah, he's got to kind of hope for some type of unforced error by Skyler Woodward.
So, any information on hamburger helper for Skyler here?
Not that I know of.
Keeping it low, par.
We did go have a little spaghetti not long ago, a couple hours ago. That was really nice. I'm not a big hamburger helper fan myself. I guess I just found out Skyler is.
So that's a safety battle coming up.
Yeah, he kind of wishes the 5 wasn't there. He's going to have to feather the 1 down there and bring the cue ball back to the in rail behind the 2, I think. Now this is touchy.
Would you prefer using the rail to maneuver the cue ball here?
That's what I mean, like cut the 1 down pass and come to the side rail and then back to the in rail.
Why not just roll it toward the 2 ball?
Yeah, but but the eclipse isn't as big. You almost always want to come back to the rail. Because if you go a little far, a little short,
you are still okay,
yeah. And if you're trying to come up on that 2 sometimes, of course we'd like to, glue them to the 2 ball, but it's just a little more risky. Okay, so he took the simple one, and he did well. Of course, he's not going to get ball in hand, but this is a hard one to control.
A little bit of coaching here. Yeah, that's nice actually. Like the players being aware of you present here. Like we are behind the glass here, so just to inform our viewers, the players can occasionally take a quick glance at Jeremy Jones, the vice captain for Team USA.
Well,
I've heard you did some pretty nice boot camps back at home.
Yeah.
Throughout the year,
Mm-hmm.
like with the contenders.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. He's got to watch catching this thin now. He could scratch in that corner. Otherwise, it should be all right. Now he scratched cross corner. Yeah, you want to hit that thick.
Yeah.
So you got to slow down the speed a little bit and let that English take to make sure you get thick into that one.
Well, once again, using English on new cloth is not given.
Right.
So
And that's why you have to be even slower to make sure it takes. If you get a little quick with it, it's almost like you don't have English on the cue ball at all. So he'll follow past the 6. The main thing is stay off the rail. That way he can draw up in between the 9-5. Oh, he hit this a little heavy. He hit this a little heavy.
And he doesn't have a shot.
Yeah, he just got a little quick on it. Just caught a little heavy to the hole, and gonna have to shake that one off. Now he's pretty close to the 6, and it's an error you won't see probably again for another 5 or 10 years from Sky Woodward, but just not one that's made very often. But
Well, actually, he's laughing at himself, like,
yeah.
how come?
Well, I kind of think it's good he had to get his break cue, his jump cue out here to regroup. It's a tough jump shot, but Sky's one of the best at it, so I think he should make this. It's not easy.
Okay, he's making the call to the corner pocket.
May not be able to gather position, though. Yeah, he just kind of was straight and had to cinch it.
Nice shot.
Yeah, so he should come back down behind the 10 here, I believe. The 10 and the 8. That's a big 2 balls to get the eclipse, I think. Don't think he'll go offensive here. Don't think so, anyways. Yeah, so he'll just edge the 5, and again the 10-8 and the 9 are really big. I might move the 5 a little more away from the side rail. Okay, he just used the 9, and I'm not so sure he got the snooker. That's why you always get to the rail.
Well, probably should have hit it a little bit thicker and like with more pace once again.
Mm-hmm. And less spin, actually, I think. Because you're not going to get it back to the end rail,
I would be
right?
looking even to position the 5 closer to the head rail.
Yeah, but I think with the 10-8 there, I think those when they sit like this, you have like this much room on the end rail to get the snooker because they kind of stagger each other. The 10 and 8 do. So it's easy to get the snooker, believe it or not. The center of that end rail is such a powerful place to put the cue ball. Especially the 10 is always around the spot.
To develop such knowledge about like defensive play, you are supposed to play defensive drills.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, safety drills on safeties. Because like some players even fail to understand the concept you were talking about, like how much space the object balls sometimes can cover.
Oh yeah, especially when you have 2 there. I mean, it's like it gives you like a 10-inch path.
I think there is a very nice chapter on this, like about like balls being blockers in one of the books by Phil Capel. I think it's play your best pool, I think.
Well, I'll tell you, there's another game that we talked about with Billy Thorpe. Skyler Woodward is another great bank player.
Yeah.
And the one thing good about playing banks is, everybody knows where the cue ball's going, or you figure out the cue ball where it's going. When you're shooting a ball straight in, you can figure out 3 or 4 different ways where it's going. But when you're clipping a ball or hitting it into the rail, well, bank pool teaches you a lot of that easy, good feeling of what hit takes you where. Not only because you're banking them in, but you're not just shooting them straight in, right? So it's not so obvious.
That's a good reason to try to be an all-around player.
Right. But that was a big one there. That was to get on the heel with ball in hand. And so now from 7-4 and Jani breaking to 6-5 and Jani breaking. So you can easily see the complexion change.
Well, so far this match goes back and forth like tide is changing. First, it was Jani wasting his chance, then Skyler, then once again they changed the roles here.
Well, I'll tell you, Shane's not out of it. 7-4 now, and I think he's breaking. Maybe not. Maybe he's not breaking. It was 7-1. No.
Well, I suppose I don't.
Quite a bit short here on the 10.
Well, that's I think a standard shot, like every player has to practice every while and then.
Yeah, but they sure do practice them free throws every day in basketball too, and I still see them missed. So, I mean, it's just part of it. It's a lot different that when you're out there in the heat.
Of course. I was going to say I don't see the bracket right now, but I think that even if Shane goes to the losers bracket, probably there is an easy path to the knockout.
Well, I don't know about that. Like you said, there's a lot of great players here, and there's already been some put on the loser side.
Yeah, but so far there are not so many of them like colliding.
I don't understand that rollout exactly, and Sky Woodward has called the bank.
Yes.
Whether he's going to really play it or not, he may just be playing the one near there.
Made the ball.
And
got the position.
4 rails without touching a thing. Try that one again, Michael.
Stable, yeah,
look at all the traffic. He went behind the 7, behind the 9, behind the 10.
Almost like that famous trick shot, like with the champagne glasses, like when the goes like 3 or 4 rails around, not breaking anything.
I think he's got to float this, doesn't he? Yeah. And that's, I don't understand that rollout. I'll be honest about that. Again, when you roll out, you want there to be an element of getting it back. And that's how tough you have to roll out at this level. That's why you see so many rollouts for kick shots at this level.
Like I said before in the match before, like you don't roll out to an open space. If you see the shot, you are not going to give it back. Never.
Yeah. The only way you'll ever give anything back with it being open is if it's just kind of tough or there's no future in the rack somehow,
or
and the score is the deficit in the
maybe if
score.
you're suspicious like about like a possible scratch in case
Sure.
you take the shot.
But I think the score even has to say so also in that situation, meaning there has to be one of those peculiar situations, plus you're up 8-1 or 7-1,
like
something like that. So
depending like whether you are trailing or losing, trailing or you are in front.
Yeah, because when it comes to the high levels in sports, Michael, almost all of them want to execute before you do. They all want to take the chance to do the shot before you do. Doesn't matter what sport you're talking about. Whether it being defend before you do, you know, offense before you do, whatever it is. That's why in overtime in football, you rarely ever see them want to kick off. They always want to get the ball. Or American football, I say.
Yeah.
Wow, I'm surprised he drew that.
Well, meanwhile, Skyler is close to getting on the hill. All he needs to do is just pocket this 10 ball. No mistake here.
Okay, so in great position now, Sky Woodward, after winning the lag. He'll have 2 breaks to win this match and move on to the 3rd round. Now, to make the final 32 from the winner's side, you have to win 3.
Well, of course, Skyler doesn't want to be back to the table with his second break right here.
No, absolutely not.
Getting things done
absolutely
in these
not.
very,
That's
very
for us to
yeah.
talk about, not for him to think about.
Yeah.
Oh my. And that was he got a kiss, but he'd tell you himself that's a little his fault.
Well, actually,
he sent it that way.
At first sight, it looked like he is going to be saved by the kiss, but no way. Because he lost the cue ball straight away.
Okay, so you can see the only real work from the 6 to the 7 most likely. With the 5 being on this end of the table, that could get a little tricky for Jani, maybe. Meaning he's going to have to move the cue ball a little bit. Well, this is with ball in hand on the 1, you wouldn't figure he would have got stretched on the 3, but it happens. So say he gets the cue ball kind of where it's at now. Well, that's where it starts to where he could maybe have a little bit of a funny position from the 6 to the 7. We'll see. Okay, he came back quite a bit.
Gonna be fine.
That's better. But I don't know. Something just still tells me. My gut tells me he may have to do a little something here. Main thing is here, don't take the eye off the prize, that being the 5 ball. Sometimes you'll try to get a little bit more out of this draw stroke here and hit a little thick to the pocket. I'm
a bit surprised about the cue elevation,
like here. He's gotten flat, so the ball doesn't move easily. So he's going to have to draw the ball here, I believe. And that's what I mean. I would have rather been in a little more towards the center where the cue ball runs easily 2 rails.
Well, maybe the only option he's got right now just to try to get off of the 10 a little bit. With
going forward,
yeah.
You mean? Oh, he's going to let the draw stroke out.
Very nice one. Pretty long shot on the 7, but he should be okay. All he needs is just a stop shot from this distance. The cue ball will drift naturally off the cushion for the position on the 10.
Yeah, this is where you don't try to make it move off the rail. Let the angle move it off the rail. When you try to make it move, you just try to cut it a hair more, and you may overcut it.
Yeah, sure.
Like, ooh, almost like that. See how far he got off the rail with the cue ball.
Actually was saved by the cloth, I would say here.
Yes. I think the outer table, it would have hung.
we can watch once again on the replay. We've got like how far he hit the rail. Oh, he overcut it, yeah.
Yeah, bad.
But I think the way he shot it is called like a missing on the pro side, right?
No, missing on the pro side is when you miss the ball actually, and you overcut it and it comes to the back rail and the cue ball comes up table. Pro side's always about the actual missing it, which is not a good way to think.
That's the other side of the pro side.
Right. But it's something you learn. Oh, you want to miss on? No, don't think about missing at all is the key. Well, with all the great players here, even though you can say there's some different tiers of great players here, of course, obviously.
Yeah.
But with everyone traveling this far, you know, they're going to be in form. So in these races to 8, you expect a lot of close matches. Okay, I didn't hear anything again. No 4-railer. So Sky's going to get a nice opportunity here to end this match with a nice open 1, 2, and 3 in the sides. Gonna have to play a little bit of position on the 4.
Well, nothing done and nothing clustered.
I got on the wrong side of the 2 there, and this could really pose a problem with the 6 being there and the 9. So can he draw into the top of the 6 and get over for the 3 in the corner?
About drawing off the 6?
That's what I mean. Draw into the top of the 6 and get to where it comes for the 3 in the corner.
I think not everyone of our viewers knows that you can draw off the ball almost as good as off the cushion.
Yeah, you can be accurate with it. He's going by it, it looks like. No, he didn't get it. It's going to be upsetting. So now he's going to have to play the safety. I think he's going to have to drop the cue ball below the 10, maybe bank the 3 across. Maybe it's close.
Yes, I was just thinking about the other way around, like trying to go
backwards.
Yes, to move the cue ball behind the 4 and the 5. But I think the side pocket, like
the point's not so friendly, or the side pocket itself.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, this is a touchy one.
What about the bank shot?
Cross side.
Cross side, right?
Well, maybe. Because he moved the 6 out of the way to where there's a lot more opening to get at that 4. So maybe. I don't think it's so easy to get behind the 10 here with the cue ball. Well, I really don't. I don't think it's easy at all.
I didn't see Skyler making any call yet. Like staying aggressive, so maybe he's going for the safety.
He could cut it in. He could cut it in the corner with the 4 being kind of open a little bit. Yeah, this is where you got to fade the jump cue maybe. Or let him see a piece. I think he's got a piece of it.
Yeah, definitely, maybe even enough to pocket it to the corner if it goes past the 9, which I'm not sure of.
I don't think it does, but the thing is, he's got a decent kick to kick underneath it and kick it in the side, I believe, or kick it up table
corner,
and bring the cue ball back where it's at now.
Past the 6 ball, yeah.
Yeah, and bring the cue ball above the 7, just with a little spin back behind where it's at now, kind of. A little draw English.
I don't think he can kick it to the side. Maybe he doesn't see enough of the ball.
Well, we talked about a SVB that was trailing 7-1. Now it's 7-6, and SVB's at the table after Alcade just dry broke.
How strong is that?
Yeah.
Once again, with alternate break.
Well, you got to believe, that's for sure. You got to believe you can make those comebacks. what a shot.
Well, Jani proving me wrong. I wasn't sure about him being able to do that.
Well, he's made 2 incredible kick shots. I don't know if you remember the 2 ball he kicked in, 2 rails up in the corner early in the match.
All the way down.
To gain a lead in the match, actually. Trying to keep one eye on each eye on 2 different tables. Hard to do.
Yeah, no wonder, because like it's getting much more interested there.
Well, it's about to be hill there too. Shane just rolled out. I don't know what he rolled out to, because David gave it back pretty quick. So as you alluded to, the top players don't give it back very often.
Well, we've got a live feed from Shane's table, so no need to worry about this one.
Oh yeah,
this match will be available for like.
There's many stream tables here, actually. What, 4, I believe?
Well, not enough, I think. Still not enough.
Never satisfied, huh, Michael?
I wish I could have seen Max play in a Russian pyramid. They put Corey on the TV table.
Yeah, he won.
But not Max, unfortunately.
Well, it looks like he's cueing this with a hair of inside English. Okay, just straight.
Yes, this is live. It is supposed to be, at least. Okay, guys, those of you who are trying to keep an eye on Shane's match, also I advise you create 2 separate windows, because I think we're going to have a heel here and hopefully a heel there.
Well, Shane just kicked safe on his rollout, made a nice shot, so a good chance, yeah, we're going to have heel on both. Well, I say that. It's still 10 balls on the table over there, so. Okay, so Sky, after a scratch on the break in his last, looks like he's going to be breaking for the case game here, so he's going to have to clean that up.
So he's got to be extra cautious on his last break of this match, not to scratch.
Yeah, I mean, you don't want to be too cautious, though. You still have to do what you've been doing. It's just whether it be didn't aim quite as clearly, you might say.
I remember
look here, he got a little stretched.
Nick Warner saying so, like, the worst thing you can do on heel is scratching.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Just by any means avoid this one.
But the thing to myself is, what I'm saying is, sometimes when you try to, like, you can't steer it. You can't sit there and say, oh, let me make sure I don't scratch, and then you don't hit them as pure as you normally would. So, okay, so here we are.
Well, I wouldn't say that Jani is fortunate to be in double heel situation in this match. He pretty well deserves it, as well as Sky.
Oh, yeah. He scratched on the break earlier in a position to go up 3 games, so he had the lead early.
Yeah, I mean, comparing those two, I think Siekkinen might have seemed like a little bit shakier in the very beginning of this match, but then, like, it changed a little bit. Well, after all, of course, like it all comes to Skyler, Woodward's unforced errors. That's correct.
Well, it looks like Stepanov lost Hill to the Polish kid that beat me this morning. So you're going to see a lot of 8-6, 8-7 matches. That's just how it is. Okay, hit those well. Didn't get the one ball, really didn't come off the rack near as much as it normally does. Now does he go for this cross side? Would follow. It's a tough shot. Would follow on new felt. Tough shot.
As good as a banker Skyler is, well,
Yeah, but he
I'm
almost
not
has
sure
to
about
roll
this
it.
one.
You almost, I mean, if you fire it, it's a little more guesswork, I think. You almost kind of like medium it. I don't really think it's as appealing as he first looked at. If you fire it, the cue ball's not going to move much either. So it's like medium stroke. Hit it perfect. Hit it perfect.
Very nice.
And you notice how the one held its line a lot better. If you hit a little hard, it jumps a little bit, loses the line of the side pocket, and really kind of looks like a sucker shot.
Well, I was thinking that if the rail height is set properly, the ball is not supposed to hop.
Well,
even at high speed.
Yeah, but the cue ball gets off the felt more than you think at high speed, right? Just like drawing. A lot of people don't realize that when you draw the ball, the cue ball gets off the felt a little bit. Okay, now I wouldn't threaten trying to get so straight on the 6 if it was a worry, right? You can always handle a little angle on the 6 and draw one rail by the 10 back over for the 8. So don't threaten getting snookered. That's the key. You can handle some angle on the 6. You can come 2 rails around it. See, that's what I would look at more, like he looked at there. If you try to get straight on the 6 and this fast table gets away from you just a little bit, you get behind the 10, can be problems.
Maybe just even leaving for the 2-ball route is better here.
Yeah, he went ahead and played for the angle, and I think that's really a smart shot.
Just going with a follow shot on the 6.
Or even if you like the draw, whichever one you prefer, but at least you know you're going to play to move the cue ball.
So he's aiming low on the cue ball.
Kind of stunning, which he is one of the best at that.
That's a good skill. Yeah, like that.
Yeah. Well, David Alcade, he kicked out of it. Now he's got a shot at the table, so looks bad for SVB. It looks pretty good for Skywood.
Looks like that is pretty much it.
So can he follow with inside for the corner easily? Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, he's good here.
Well, David Alcade's got a little work from the 3 to the 4, it looks like. Ooh. Ooh.
Still in.
Yeah, still in.
It counts.
That's right.
Well, obviously desperate Jani Siekkinen goes to the loser's bracket. I'm not sure if we are going to stay alive to provide you with